Looking to connect to other Overwatch players just like you? Be in the know with the latest news around the game and the league? You're in the right place. Welcome to Overwatch Recall, connecting you with Overwatch podcasts. With your host, Glen Totemlydrunk Smiddy.
Welcome back to Overwatch Recall, connecting you with Overwatch podcasts and Overwatch content creators. I am your host, Glen, Totemlydrunk Smiddy, and tonight I am sitting down with SorcenTV, who is a Grandmaster player who dives into not only Twitch streaming, but also has a YouTube channel as well. Sorcen, thank you so much for sitting down with me here tonight, this evening. Just to talk about, your growing aspect in regards to your content creation, and also, learn a little bit more about you and what you do within the game.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited to just get into the Overwatch meta and see what it's all about. Let give you the insider scoop.
So usually to start things off, I'd like to learn a little bit more about the content creators out there, such as where you are in regards to a gaming background, whether or not Overwatch has been your first Blizzard title, because from what I've noticed, for the most part, not that many creators that I've talked to so far have been hardcore Blizzard fanboys since their early inception. So where do you fall in the spectrum with Blizzard titles?
Pretty new, honestly. I was really into Dota, Dota 2 and Dota 1, my whole life until Overwatch. I played a little bit of Counter-Strike, but Blizzard games, I haven't really touched them at all besides Overwatch.
That's interesting to note, because you come from a MOBA background, and Overwatch does have a lot of elements of that game style just combined with an FPS game, which makes it very unique in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of CSGO, and I really liked it, and I started playing ranked and stuff. Overwatch came out soon after I played, and it was just a mix of both, FPS and MOBA, and it's a mix of everything, but it just really grabbed me, and I just forgot about every other game.
So with that being said, when you first started playing Overwatch, how far into the game's life cycle was that, and what really piqued your interest in pursuing the game itself?
So I saw I watched a bunch of streams when it was out in beta and stuff, but I never got to play. It just looked really fun, but I could only watch, and I just had to wait till it got released, and that's when I started playing. And I think I played it for maybe 2 months, and then kind of gave up on it just because my friends stopped playing, and I was just whatever, it's getting stale. But I realized that I really did enjoy just the whole diversity of the game. Every single game was different in some way, so I just kind of just stuck to it because I didn't really want to go back to playing Dota. It was took too much of a toll on me.
Well, I mean, you can kind of say some similar things about Overwatch given the current state of the game, but we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Let's learn a little bit more about your content creation. So you are still in the early works in regards to your YouTube content. It's a work in progress. You're still a smaller creator, and you're looking to bring some more stuff into your YouTube. So in regards to your content creation, did you first start with YouTube content before you started to do more stuff on Twitch, or was it the other way around?
So I think I made my first my YouTube videos first, but then that was before Overwatch, and that was just for me, just wanting to save clips and stuff, and just put them on the internet and stuff. But in regards to Overwatch and most content creation I wanted to make, I actually had inspiration to make, probably Twitch first then, because I started streaming first, and I wanted to stream kind of because I wanted to get the clips from the VODs, and I couldn't really record and play Overwatch, and I thought maybe streaming would be fun too. So I guess technically both, honestly. They started at the same time, because I started streaming to get footage, honestly.
Makes sense. So like the two of them are pretty
Yeah.
much married with one another because like I know
Yeah.
I know like with something like this like we're not actually using a webcam, so it's just like, well, we kind of need like, you know, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour of just roll footage to use for these
Yeah.
videos, just so we can get that stuff on our YouTube. So it's funny how like those two are directly related, even if you're just trying to fill, you know, some of the space in between. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
so, you know, you mentioned like you've posted like some like frag type movies or just highlights in regards to your Overwatch content on your YouTube, but you also did like
Hmm.
Overwatch Mythbusters where you basically like go into the game and you test, you know, certain things that are I don't know if I should describe it as perceived to be true, but like certain things that people
Yeah.
all assume that end up not being correct. Or, you know,
Yeah.
just like common misconceptions, you know, things like that. So where did the idea behind that really start? And do you plan on continuing that as like maybe like a monthly series once like more and more of these like perceived issues within certain abilities come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, like PTR is like really useful for this kind of stuff. Like there's always like something to test like that not everyone knows about. Like maybe like some of like just the super high level pros like pretty much know everything. And like they might know about it, but like a casual player, even like I am grandmaster, but like I just didn't know like a lot of stuff. And I did write like a list in my phone notes of like more stuff. I was gonna like continue the series like more often, like not monthly, but I'm moving right now, so like I have my setup like packed away right now, so I can't like do it right now. But as soon as like I move in and stuff, I'll be good to go. Should be coming soon.
Yeah, so like just to use like a couple examples of maybe some misconceptions. Like I think like one of the first things that come to mind uh is like jump tricks essentially like with the heroes. So like the first one I think of is on like Volskaya Industries and like which heroes can actually make the jump on attack on the left side flank is a pretty big one that some people don't know which heroes can actually make that movement between that large gap. Or I'm trying to think of what else would come to
I
mind
mean, right
here.
right there. Besides like TPing, I honestly like, can't think of like more than the ones that have like the like more obvious like movement abilities.
Yeah,
Like
like
I don't.
there's also like rocket punch and how that interacts with like charge, you know, things like that. Like
Hmm.
two Reinhardts charging one another.
Yeah.
How those movement abilities kind of affect, you know, Symmetra's teleporter, like you mentioned.
Hmm.
Same with like the Diva self destruct and, you know, the angles that you can kind of create from that. That I mean, honestly, like that's one use of the teleporter that we still have like yet to really see in pro play. Not that we're seeing a ton of Symmetra.
Yeah. That's not really coming out. I think like pros just know like way too easily how to counter it and stuff.
Yeah, and the Diva self destruct with the teleporter wasn't the easiest thing to like kind of get lined up either.
Yeah, I mean that's like really hard to set up because I don't know if like the diva like this like mini diva being able to push the bomb was like a intentional mechanic. Maybe it was, but it is like really hard to like move it if you like mess it up a little bit. Like you can't move it very far like at all.
Yep. So moving forward, you know, with your YouTube stuff, like I know you've already done frag movies, and you know you're looking at bringing back MythBusters. Do you have any sort of other plans in regards to some of the content that you're looking to bring to your YouTube channel?
Um, maybe some Call of Duty Black Ops 4, but besides that, mostly Overwatch stuff. Like probably some more frag movies. I like editing like my own clips and stuff. Like it's more fun to just like be able to edit that and show it to like other people and stuff. But maybe some Black Ops 4 like here and there. I do enjoy it. Just another FPS.
Which is also, you know, on the BattleNet launcher.
Also, yeah, yeah, very convenient honestly. Like I don't know if I would have started playing if it was on Steam. Like just cuz like I use BNet so much.
I am 100% with you in that regard because like like when I first got into COD, it was when the first one came out, because like I basically got my start in FPS games back when like the original like Wolfenstein and Doom came out.
Oh yeah.
So like my first real like FPS that was multiplayer was like the original Battlefield and Call of
Oh damn.
Duty, Days of Defeat, of course all World War II based. And then
Yeah,
I didn't really touch Call of Duty after like Modern Warfare essentially. So there was like a long gap in between here where I just
yeah.
haven't played it at all. And then oh, lo and behold, we have Activision Blizzard, and then Call of Duty
Yep.
actually comes with the Battle.net launcher, and I'm like, well, I guess this is gonna be enough to bring me back at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what happened to me too. Like right after Modern Warfare 2, there's also just like a big gap, and just like maybe playing at like a friend's house or something. Like I never got the Call of Duties after that.
All right, well, shifting gears to your Twitch channel, like when did you exactly first start on Twitch, and are there any particular game modes that you prefer to play when you are actually streaming?
So I think I started streaming like a year and a half ago, but then like I tried to like consistently stream like 5 or 6 months ago, or like yeah, no, it's probably 7 months now because it's December now. Yeah, so like 7 months ago, like, I was like trying to just like stream my ranked gameplay like a lot, like yeah, like as much as I got on. But then I started like climbing really high in SR, and I was like scared to stream, so I stopped like streaming a little bit. But besides that, yeah, I think like 7 months ago, I tried like just to consistently stream my like ranked gameplay. Like there was sometimes some quick play and some custom lobbies, but mostly ranked.
Yeah, so how long would you say like your typical stream usually lasts for? Do you have like a set like time limit that you're looking at, so it's maybe kind of a similar experience kind of like throughout the week when you're streaming?
So like it depends on like what I have like going on, usually just like that week or like that month. But I'll try and like just stream as much as I can. Like if I'm like playing, like I would want to be streaming the whole time. So like I would say like 3 to 4 hours, like right now would be like typical for me. Cause like playing more ranked like after that amount of time, which is already like a lot for some people. It kind of just like gets to your head and stuff, and you like feel burned out.
Yeah, there's definitely some things within the game that do kind of like lead to that and kind of like make that happen a little bit quicker, which we'll
Yeah.
kind of give into because experience in ranked play can either be really great or really terrible, depending on
Yeah.
what day it is, or really like how long you're actually playing. But with that being said, when it comes to you streaming on Twitch, do you have a sort of fixated schedule? And if not, what is the best way people can find you when you're going live on Twitch?
So people can follow my Twitter. I haven't tweeted out a live notification of like on Twitch yet, but that's just because I've been holding off since I'm like in between like moving right now, and I want to like start tweeting out like my live notification for Twitch. Besides that, I think if you follow on Twitch, the notification gives you there. But I think I post in some Discords like I'm going live and stuff. Some of like the Overwatch Discords, like the big ones that like like small streamers post in there. But yeah, that's about it. Twitter, like Discord.
Sounds good. So let's dive into a little bit of game discussion, and let's start with rank play. So you are a grandmaster player, and I mentioned earlier, like I've been someone that's kind of been, kind of stuck in the plat promised lands, as I put it. Primarily just it's more due to the fact that I don't really have time outside of doing initial placements, to really dive into the nitty gritty of the grind, just to reach
Yeah.
that next point. But like I have played in different skill tiers, probably the lowest being silver, when I'm at my brother-in-law's house, to, gold, a little bit in diamond, like if I get really high up in plat, to, kind of like everything in like the middle ground. And it's been like my experience in each rank has been a little bit different. So, for example, when I had played in silver, it seemed like everyone thought like they knew everything. You would go into gold, and it felt like people would just always insta-lock DPS and not really want to take or heal. And then in plat, you have people that are trying to make that push, and then the other part of it are just people who are just trying not to get too far up in regards to SR. So like it's like this really weird balance between the two, between people that are tryharding and people that just don't really care. Now beyond that, I have zero knowledge of the overall gameplay experience or just the mindset of the players. So as a GM player, what would you say like the typical gameplay experience is for you? Like, are you grouped with people that are a similar mindset, that are actually looking to make that push to 500? Are you still kind of like dealing with some of these nuances that a lot of people have to deal with, where maybe someone picks someone picks your main character, and then that person ends up soft throwing or just hard throwing as a Symmetra, just going straight into the enemy team, things like that?
I mean, I wouldn't get too excited about like, I don't know, high level like gameplay, or at least GM gameplay. Like, GM doesn't mean too much, honestly. Like, unless like you're a consistent like top 500 or like 4,300 plus player, like it's not too different. Like, you're gonna find the same thing at like every rank pretty much. You might find it a little less like in GM plus or something, or like high masters, like people trying to climb and like not throwing and stuff. Like, it might happen less, but you're not like ever gonna really escape it, to be honest. Like, it's almost always there.
That is very comforting to know that the experience is from the top down.
Yeah, it's not too different, honestly.
So with that being said, like, something else that a lot of people bring up is the way that placements are done. There are people out there that really want like that hard skill rating reset, because basically what happens is you get to a certain rank in the game, and then after, like, when the season ends and you go to do placements, you pretty much place exactly where you were, or maybe like a little bit below where you were. So you're really not actually having to fight to get that SR back. And it kind of like creates this scene where if you're someone that has been stuck in a certain elo, they're not actually able to get out of the spot that they're currently in, where they feel like, they're just kind of like digging their own grave at that point, and it's just like a constant uphill battle, especially with people that, are maybe running into, leavers or throwers every game. But like there are a lot of times when people are playing ranked where they're dealing in like essentially what could be a 1v11 situation, where they start to go on like these kind of like losing streaks. So like, where do you sit in regards to a potential hard SR reset as someone that is higher ranked in the game?
I mean, it definitely makes sense, especially at this point. Like, you can literally see like the players in game that are boosted. Like, you can like see them that like they weren't like here because of their skill. Like, they got here because of some kind of exploit, some kind of like hero meta where basically they could just climb SR for free. And like, I think I saw a clip of someone talking about it, but basically like they don't have to do really anything to keep that SR. Like, if they're GM plus anything, like they just have to play the 10 placements, and like at the end of season, and they're good. They're good to go for next season. Like, they don't have to do anything. So hard SR reset would probably send these people back to a lower rank or something.
Yeah, there's definitely been moments within the competitive Overwatch seasons where there has been a very dominant hero or just meta in general. Like, going back to the early days when like D.Va could basically just blanket you like nonstop with defense matrix.
Yeah, her DM before the nerf was like crazy to think that like we even played that.
Yeah, and pre-show we were even talking about the Mercy meta, the Moth meta, where you would try to line up a shot and you couldn't hit Mercy when she was popping her Valkyrie, things like that, and that definitely helped out some of the support players out there to really make that push to that next level. But like ever since then, it's just like you're really never in danger of losing the position that you're currently in. So
Yeah.
it kind of like takes the fight to climb completely out of the situation. So it's kind of like created this environment where, as someone that is a high ranked player, it's easy to kind of assess where other players should be that, you're in the game with. And, like if we do have a hard SR reset at some point, and this is something that they still have not even touched on, so who knows if this is even going to happen.
Yeah.
But it would help to a degree, smoothen out the overall gameplay experience kind of across the board because, not only does it kind of like affect the high end, but it also affects, the players that maybe haven't been able to push out of like bronze or silver. So for them to kind of get like a fresh start, there's always that potential that, they might actually get ranked higher. So there's a little bit room for growth for them to actually occur. If there is an SR reset. So it's definitely something that I hope, Team 4 is going to keep an eye on because, right now, there are a lot of people that have been pretty vocal just about the state of Overwatch, which has been a very hot topic within the last month due to Siegel's video. And,
Oh, yeah, that blew up.
That basically really, like, to a degree that even kind of sparked some changes that we have seen on the PTR. So I'm just going to assume that you have probably seen the State of Overwatch video that Siegel released.
Yeah.
So something that he had brought up was that there are a lot of hard counters in Overwatch. So you have, we'll use Brigitte as an example, who basically can be seen as like the scare tactic, where you don't want to play Tracer, because you can basically just get you can basically get deleted from the game. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
It's just this fear that is instilled because of the shield bash combo with the whip shot and like one flail of the mace, and then you're absolutely gone. So it makes a Tracer player either one, try to completely avoid you, which is kind of hard to do at times, or two, it makes you more hesitant to actually look to harass the backline and things like that. The other was that Overwatch feels like a coin flip. So you have games that are on two ends of the spectrum. You either have games that are very good, or you have games that are very bad. So it's essentially a snowball. In your favor or not in your favor, with really there being no in between. And it kind of strengthens the arguments when you're talking about like the solo queue experience of the game, because the issues that some people see within the game itself, when you're a solo player, you kind of feel like the game is out of your control. Because you can only control what you are actually doing yourself. You can't really control what everyone else on the field is doing. Whether it is, the people that you are grouped with your team, or, just who you're going up against. So in your mind right now, like, what's your general thoughts on the state of Overwatch? Like, are there certain issues that you feel like need to get addressed, maybe on a quicker time frame than some of the maybe lesser known issues?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think matchmaking is like a bit of like one of the underlying like issues that like we're just like growing so numb to it that like we just think it's normal now, or like we've thought it's normal for like whatever the past 6-7 seasons. But I think it really just like wore everyone down. It feels like a rigged lottery. Like you don't want to hope to just have like a completely stacked team where you're just gonna roll the enemy team. Like you want a game where you have a fair team, like the other team that's fair, whatever. Everyone's like playing to win, and it actually turns out to be like a good game. And like those games are honestly like the reason you like some people just play Overwatch. Like it makes you like I don't know, it draws you in so much that like a game like this could be so intense, like back and forth instead of just like a steamroll, which is 50% of like other your games.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because for the most part, like when we talk about the queue system, I know a lot of people out there that would rather wait a couple extra minutes and get in a match that would be more even than have a quicker queue that just ends up being a snowball, regardless of what side of the snowball that they are on.
Yeah, I mean, like that pretty much speaks to like it would make so much more sense, and like it would just make a lot of more like a lot more people happy, just like having what like 5-10 minute queues. Like I don't know, Dota and like League, like they have like really long queues, and like it's not bad honestly. Like instead of like snowball games, which can literally be like 5 minutes and like that's it, minus 25 SR for you. But like I'd rather wait like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, even for just like for one good game instead of just steamroll.
Yeah, and speaking of matchmaking, another thing that at least the community has been pretty vocal about is the need to have more than one queue type system. So, for example, like separating the solo queue players and people that are playing in groups or stacks, depending on how you want to define it. Where do you sit with that argument? Like, is that something that you would like to see implemented in Overwatch, where if you are a solo player, like you're not going to be put in a position where you're grouped with a 5-stack, and then, more times than not, as someone as a solo player in that situation, you're probably going to get the blame if something goes wrong, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, when people like look at this issue, they don't see like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't care about six stacking because it doesn't have its own like matchmaking, like SR, like a team SR or whatever. Like people, I don't know, high level, like people really just care about like three like very like insane players, like three stacking into a game and pretty much just rolling. Like I think that's like the big issue that people like care about queuing. So I mean, party MMR should definitely be a thing, just so like I don't know, queues are already like skewed enough just by matchmaking. Like having players that are like that like level of just like insane like gameplay like stacked on one team, it's kind of hard to just like look at that and be like, oh, we're gonna win like against Sinatra, DeFran, and I don't know, like Unco. Like it's so hard to just be positive against that. So I mean, it would like discourage them a little bit from like stacking together like their party MMR and solo MMR being separate.
Outside of that, I'm trying to think what else. So talking about like the current meta of the game. So there's two ways to kind of like look at the meta. So one of the things that I always talk about is the perception of a meta, because something that players do is to kind of like identify what the meta is based on what is being played within like the Overwatch League or Overwatch Contenders, just tournament play in general. Now, if you watch Contenders right now, a vast majority of the games are using triple tank, triple support. That's not to say that there aren't some, minor variations to that particular comp where, say, you play a Winston over a Reinhardt, or you have a Zenyatta, over a Moira to get that Discord orb to help delete the enemy Reinhardt quicker to break him down and, get his shield out of the way, to even substituting D.Va in favor of Run and Mate, which is one of the more curious variations that we have seen. Do you feel like at your level in Grandmaster that there is kind of like a set meta, or are you seeing quite a bit of variation? Because like at times, like I feel like depending on the person I'm talking to, the perception of meta gets so exaggerated that they feel like the only thing that they see is triple tank, triple support. So what has your overall experience been with this meta?
So like compared to like other seasons, this specific one I have like played a lot less, and I know it's mostly because of like goats just like being spam. But I think like this might be like the most like diverse like meta, I think, because you see like all these heroes like besides like Reaper or something, and like it doesn't like get overlooked. Like you don't see those heroes as like, I don't know, an off meta pick sometimes. Like it might be okay to like run McCree or something, but like I think it's pretty diverse, like compared to how much Goats is getting run right now. Goats is getting ran right now.
You know, it's really crazy to like kind of see how much that diversity has kind of been stretched out over the seasons too. Because for a while, like there was a very long period in time where Overwatch was basically straight dive in a majority of situations where dive heroes were the most viable. And now it's kind of gotten to the point where the game has kind of become like very reactive to what the opposition is actually running, but you still kind of have like these map synergies based on the amount of high ground in the game. So, like, for example, like on Horizon Lunar Colony on defense, you still see a lot of like Orisa Roadhog with like Junkrat, Widowmaker, things like that. You're still seeing Widow quite a bit on Ilios in Ruins. So there's always going to be kind of like these pocket picks that are catered around just like level design or just like how the sightlines are on given maps. And we've kind of seen a new character in Ashe who kind of like bridges the gap when it comes to kind of like that mid-range hit scan type role, where she's basically like I'm not gonna say like she's a combination of McCree and Widowmaker, but like her overall like eliminations, the damage that she puts out is like right in line with both of those heroes, which I thought is very unique. Plus, there's also the bonus fact that Ashe is not a CC based hero, which is a pretty big deal after the meta that we're currently in and just how much micro play is involved with triple tank, triple support.
Yeah, and like the last 3 heroes that got released literally were like not skill based pretty much.
So that's great to see. Okay, so moving on, we have to talk about a certain hero in the game who has kind of sparked this movement within the community, and that is the hashtag of delete Brig. Now, Brigitte has been a very curious case in Overwatch because this has been a hero that a lot of people have been one-tricking to climb the ladder. That might not belong where they currently are. And Brigitte is this hero in the game that is a major component of triple tank, triple support, who basically provides so much armor and survivability to these tank-heavy compositions, and then you add on to the fact that she's able to basically be in a 1v2 situation and still be able to get out alive, where it kind of just like it kind of offsets the community in the sense that like there's a lot of uproar. So Blizzard has basically looked to make some changes to Brigitte. So they nerfed her shield bash damage on the PTR, dropping that from 50 to 5, so she's not able to do her shield bash, stun combo to get rid of an enemy tracer instantly. But in doing so, they also kind of buffed her healing abilities, which is going to make her and the people around her that much tankier. So this is definitely like one of those things that kind of feels like this was not a balance change that was made in relation to the meta that is currently, I don't want to say plaguing. I feel like that would be not the right way to go about it. I mean, some people would probably say that, but this isn't a change that is really going to affect what's currently being ran, which I know a lot of people aren't going to be too thrilled about the changes that are in the PTR right now. Sure, like, as a Reinhardt player, you might feel a little bit more confident that, you're not going to get shield bash and then lose your shield with it lower and then getting deleted by the Zenyatta or whatever. So, you can feel a little bit better about that, but it's also strengthening what is already in place with the meta, and a lot of people are not very happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get the whole, like, delete Brig movement, but I think it's a little extreme to just delete a whole hero.
Yeah.
Like what they did with Sim was like really good in like my perspective. Like they just fully reworked her, and like she's honestly like a still like a really good hero like that can, I think, like can be played mostly, maybe not in like ranked, or sorry, not ranked, competitive gameplay, but like she's still like a decent hero. So I think if like Blizzard looks to like rework Brig like that, it might like just favor in like both parties, like where she might not. I don't know what kind of rework, but like if she does get something like changed, it should just like be her ult, or like something massive where like she's not gonna be run like in this meta, like where just Goats is just still like alive and stomping ranked and stuff, and pretty much comp too.
So with that being said, is there any particular way that you would look to change Brigida, or maybe there's another underlying issue in regards to a hero that is involved with the triple tank, triple support composition?
I mean, I think they should somehow. I don't have like a strong idea of like basically buffing DPS. Like it feels like all DPS heroes, like no matter who you pick, it's just like you feel like you're weak against like most comps, unless like you're like Calvin's McCree. Like you're not really killing anything as McCree. And I think they need to just like change something where DPS either maybe like get their ults faster, like do damage. Because like DPS ultis, like compared to support ultis, it's just so like so different. Like how much value supports can get for just like pushing Q, and that's it. Like that's their whole ult. Like soldier ult, like McCree ult, you have to get positioning. You have to like make sure you're full HP and everything, and like make sure you're like not shooting into Diva Matrix or something. Something to change DPS would definitely change it up. I feel like just because like there's a whole argument about Reaper and how he can't really counter goats. Like it doesn't really make sense since he's like the biggest tank counter. But I think something needs to change like in the DPS meta or the DPS class.
Yeah, and a lot of that too just kind of revolves around just how much armor and health that the goat's composition brings, just due to, rally or just the armor packs that are getting provided, and Diva being able to soak up some of the poke damage that's coming out. Like there are just so many components of triple tank, triple support that you basically have to get through first in order to actually start to do damage to the heroes themselves. So yeah, like either you can look at it two ways. They either need to lower the amount of armor that is given with rally or just provided overall from Brigida, or you just need to boost damage kind of like across the board. And absolutely, like I would say, like with the ultimate situation in the game, the tank and support ultimates greatly outweigh in regards to value compared to what the DPS ultimates bring. So I don't know if like maybe slowing down the ultimate economy just like across the board would really like be like the biggest beneficiary in that regard. But that's something else that they could also look at too. But like we know like in the past, like they have looked at ultimates primarily in regards to how quick you earn them, but like it's mostly been just like across the board for every hero. It hasn't really been catered towards individual heroes themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it is a team game still. Like ultis like matter a lot, but I think like changing. I mean, I think support ulti should like be a little bit easier to use like that, but I don't know, changing some kind of aspect of ultis, because like when you suggest something like I don't know, make soldier ulti like last longer or something, like you have to like the devs have to test it and everything, so it's not easy to just like say one or two changes to like DPS, or like any hero would just like completely fix the game. Like it's hard to just like pinpoint where like a game couldn't be fixed like this, especially like a team game like this.
Yeah, and the balance for Overwatch is very like in a weird spot too, because you have a hero like Diva, who is essentially two heroes in one, because you have her mecha, part of her kit, and then you also have the baby Diva, and she's always been like in this state where if they make one like sort of like fine attunement to that character, it can grossly affect other aspects of the game.
Yeah.
But like there's definitely an argument to be made that Diva has been maybe too prominent across all meta types, where she's probably the primary reason that Goats is as prominent as it is in the meta. But something else that like the community has been talking about is just the overall amount of crowd control abilities that are in the game, because there are a lot of situations where in its current iteration, you're basically like stun locked or you're hacked. Like if you're a main tank right now, guys, I'm sorry. Like especially as a Reinhardt player, you get shield bash, you get hacked, you just get stunned, and then you just get deleted within like a second period. But like it's crazy to think that there's so much crowd control abilities in like an arcade shooter where the time to kill when there's a CC out is like so minimal. Like you just feel like you can't do anything. But like you kind of have to look at it from the opposite spectrum where as a DPS right now, like if you are going up against triple tank, triple support, the time to kill is so far like beyond what it should be just due to the overall amount of, armor and health that you're having to eat through. So like it's one of those like fine-tune moments where I don't feel like Team 4 has really hit that middle sort of ground that they might be looking for. But we have seen them kind of like make some changes to crowd control abilities, so like nerfing the Brigida shield bash damage being one of them on the PTR. They also made it where with Doomfist, if you're up against a Doomfist, you're not really having that loss of air control as a player. Do you feel like the crowd control abilities in the game really changed the overall gameplay experience where it's just not something that's fun to play against, or you just feel like you don't actually have any control of your own hero at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I rarely play tank. The only tank I play is Zarya, and like even then, like you can just bubble off most of these like abilities. So I'm usually the one like handing them out, and it does feel like a little bit too much. Like Orion should be able to do more. I was thinking like even to Ryan, like maybe on his shatters, like he like activates some kind of buff where he debuffs everything, or like it's like some kind of cleanse like from of some sort. But that was just an idea. Like I don't know. It's like hard to like say how much CC is too much CC, and obviously it feels a lot like there is too much right now. But it's like weird to like, because Doomfist is pretty much all CC, and like if you have a Doomfist one trick in the game, like someone's getting uppercutted, punched like off the edge or something. So I don't know like how much CC would be considered too much CC in like this kind of game. Like it just feels too different like compared to anything.
Yeah, and it does kind of put you in that situation too, where if you are going up against a really good Doomfist, like it basically brings it back to like that rock paper scissors mentality of, okay, like this basically puts us in a position where we have to pick a Sombra to try to get the hack, because really when Doomfist is hacked, he can't do anything at that point. He's basically just a sit and duck.
Yeah.
Same like if you're dealing with like a really good Wrecking Ball, like you're able to control where he is, or you could use a mate to kind of like slow him down, things like that. So it's a very curious case, but I feel like just due to the fact that the shield bash is so strong right now, a lot of people's opinions on crowd control are skewered. Like I'm one of those people when it comes to Doomfist where I don't think he's as good as a lot of people claim that he is. I felt like he was just he was very prominent just due to the meta at the time. But like I like right now, even in like triple tank, triple support, like you're not seeing Doomfist in every game. So like whenever like something is very common, the overall perception of the hero is drastically over exaggerated. But at the end of the day, like right now, like you're not really running into a whole lot of Doomfist like characters in a game right now. So it's definitely a curious case of people just kind of reacting with kind of like a knee-jerk type of response.
Yeah, I mean Doomfist, like he really is just a pub stomp, like a ranked stomping hero. Like he's never really played in any like competitive like leagues or anything. Like you rarely see him now, like especially in 3-3 meta. But like I think he's in a good spot too. Like that nerf was a little bit necessary, the uppercut. Like it makes it more survivable to like play against him. But it's really just gonna affect like the Doomfist players who kind of just exploited rank just to like climb a little bit. Like they might stop playing him and stuff. But I think he's in a good spot. Like he doesn't really need much to like change.
Absolutely. So with that being said, Sorcen, I know we are starting to run a little bit long, so why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you on social media, on YouTube, Twitch, things like that. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter at SorcenOW, just SorCenow basically, and my YouTube is Sorcen. I would say follow my Twitter mostly because that's going to be the most consistent like output of social media from me. I do give out my Discord, but I can like read out numbers later.
Got you. Well, thank you so much again for sitting down and talking a little bit, both about your content curation and the overall experience that you have as a GM player, including, a little bit of state of the game discussion as well. I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much for that.
Dude, thanks for having me, dude. This was pretty fun.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Overwatch Recall with Glen, Totemlydrunk, Smiddy. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit OWLNshow.com and on Twitter at OWRecall. We'll catch you next time.